What is going on, guys? This is Prodigy, and today I want to talk to you guys about some of the changes that have taken place so far in Infinite Warfare, because there actually have been a significant amount of changes, a lot of which I think are good and are headed in the right direction for the game. And it really seems like they took into consideration community feedback from the beta that they just had the past 2 weekends before. So we're going to get into that, but first, the gameplay that you're seeing is some Black Ops 3 on Combine. I was playing some Domination. This gameplay is actually from my last stream I did on Black Ops 3, and I get like 3 GI units in this game. It was crazy. It was a pretty good game, and so I decided to put this in the background while I talk to you guys about this, and hopefully you enjoyed this here gameplay because it is pretty nice. Alright, so let's get into it. Alright, so Charlie Intel had published an article. This post was originally from Reddit, but I didn't go to the Reddit post because I don't really like the Reddit website. It's too confusing. But on Charlie Intel, they basically copied the Reddit post, and it had all the list of changes that the developers from Infinity Ward said that they were making or have made in the game so far, and it's a pretty decent sized list, but a lot of the things on here I think are great things, and we're gonna go through them. I'm not gonna go through every single little thing, but I'm gonna go through the things that I think are important that people complained about. Alright, so first off, the main thing people were complaining about was the snipers, alright, or one of the main things, because they felt like they were OP. And let me just walk with you some of the changes that took place with the snipers. Alright, so the bullet spread of the sniper, that's like the crosshair that you see on the screen, as you ADS, it no longer gets smaller, which is the way it should be. I didn't even realize that that got smaller when you ADS in the game. That might have been why it was so easy to snipe, but that no longer gets smaller as you're ADSing or aiming down sights. But once you fully aim down sight, that bullet spread instantly goes to 0. So that's the way it should be. Good change there. The aim assist also was reduced slightly for the longbow and the other bolt action rifles, sniper rifles. So there is still some aim assist, but it's just been reduced slightly. And the turn rate while you're aiming down sights is also still slow. So in Black Ops 3, when you aim down sights, basically your sensitivity was the same as if you weren't aiming down sights. In Infinite Warfare, it's still slowed down when you're aiming down with the sniper, which I think is a fair balance, because I think Black Ops 3 should have done it like that, where the sensitivity while ADS is slower. So that's how Infinity Ward does it. They still have some aim assist, but it has been reduced. And you also do not get aim assist until you fully aim down sight, which I think is perfect. So unless you're fully scoped down, aim down sight already, there is absolutely 0 aim assist on the snipers. Great change, fantastic way to do it. And I think this honestly could have fixed quickscoping in previous Call of Duty games had they done it like this, because I mean, reading these changes now, they all seem like, correct changes to make on the snipers. So props to Infinity Ward right there. Also, the ELO and the scout optics on the snipers, the idle sway while aimed down sights has been increased. I haven't used the ELO or the scout on the snipers, but I'm guessing the idle sway wasn't that great. I mean, wasn't that noticeable, and so they've increased that to make it a little more difficult to use those scopes right there. And one more thing, or 2 more things actually, they reduced the bonus of the quick draw attachment. I still don't think there should be quick draw on snipers, like come on now, but statistically it should balance out with other games, so I'm not going to complain about it too much. But they've reduced the benefit of quick draw, and they've increased flinch on snipers while they're getting shot. So those are all the changes on snipers. Overall, I mean, I agree with all the changes. I think snipers were just a little too easy to use, too easy to quickscope in both of the betas that they had. So I am all for these changes that they implemented in the game. Alright, so, and they also, in addition to the snipers, they buffed the shotguns in general. They say they increased the consistency of the shotgun damage, and then the damage range and the one-shot kill range has been increased. I don't have a whole lot of experience with the shotguns in Infinite Warfare. The only time I used them was when I was playing gun game, so I can't really say if they were under or overpowered. I mean, anytime I see shotguns being buffed, I kind of cringe a little bit because I don't like shotguns. But I mean, I heard other people say that the shotguns were underpowered. So I mean, as long as they're not OP and they're balanced, I'm fine with that, I guess. Also, in changes that I think are big and important, the health regen time has been reduced. Now, this is one of the things that I complained about in my beta review video, that it just took way too long to regen your health. It felt like it was like a full 5 seconds before you started to regen. And so that time has been reduced. I don't know what exactly it's been reduced to, but the fact that they took that information and made adjustments, I am all for it. I'm happy to hear that. And hopefully it seems a lot more consistent now. So props to Infinity War right there. And they also reduced the bonus of infusion, which is the payload that reduces the health regeneration time. So they reduced that bonus right there, so it's not as strong as it was in the beta, which it was pretty strong. I ran that all the time once I unlocked it. In addition to those general changes, they're continuing to refine the spawn system on the maps, the beta maps that is, because they can't obviously test them too much on the other maps because nobody's played them, so they don't really have enough data to test the spawns right there. But on the maps that we did play, they say they're continuing to refine the spawn system because the spawns were crazy and inconsistent, so I'm glad to hear that they're working on that as well. Now, as far as the in-game economy goes, with the salvage and the keys and whatnot, they have increased the salvage gain in mission teams. Great job. They've changed the currency value and supply drops. I'm not exactly sure what that means. That's just what they have here. I don't know if that means different items are going to cost different amounts of money, but that's there, so I just thought I'd mention it. And they've increased the drop rate of keys in round-based modes, which, I mean, if you're increasing keys, I got no problem with it. And I wish Black Ops 3 would take a page out of this handbook right there. But all good changes, all good changes. And so I think the second to last thing I want to talk about is the score streaks. All right. Now, I'm not going to go through every detailed thing, but basically in general, they're buffing the score streaks. They're increasing the damage and, you know, other balancing things, which is great because all the score streaks I used in the beta felt extremely underwhelming, and I'm glad to see that they're actually making changes to make those a little more rewarding. All right. So once again, props to Infinity War right there, listening to community feedback and making the appropriate changes. There were also some changes to the matchmaking and the connection / dedicated server usage. Basically what they were saying before was that their player evaluation when trying to find a lobby was too strict, so it was taking a really long time to be placed into the lobby. So they've kind of loosened that so we can find lobbies quicker. And they've also improved the geographic categorization. So apparently before there was an issue where players weren't getting matched with people as close to them as possible, and they were labeled in the incorrect location, which might have had a lot to do with the connection issues people were having and, you know, the shoot first and die moments. So they've tweaked that and improved it so that shouldn't happen at least as much as it did in the beta. And of course they addressed the whole time to kill issue, which is really more so of a connection issue, which kind of ties into what I was just saying, that they're making these changes, so that should, you know, improve that that issue right there of, you know, you feel like you're dying way too fast. And lastly, the dedicated server usage. Basically before, they're saying that the dedicated servers, whichever algorithm they have to use for that, because there's not 100% dedicated servers, which I really just don't understand why they don't just go full on dedicated servers. Like, I mean, Call of Duty has been out so many years and people have been begging for full on dedicated servers, yet Activision just doesn't want to do it. But whatever, we're still rocking with this hybrid system. But basically what they were saying before was that the dedicated servers weren't being chosen enough, that whatever algorithm they had wasn't working properly, and the dedicated servers weren't being used enough. So they've tweaked that so that the dedicated servers will now be used more often and more appropriately depending on player location and whatnot. So I feel like I said dedicated servers a lot in that sense. But I mean, that's a good thing. I'm all for it. Like I said, I really wish we just had 100% dedicated servers. That would really be ideal. But I mean, it is what it is. We work with what we got. That's pretty much all the changes I want to talk to you about. So overall, I'm really happy with these changes. I'm really happy that they actually listened to a lot of the negative feedback that a lot of people were giving about the game after they played the beta, and they made changes. So I mean, it gives me hope for the game because a lot of the things that I had issues with, they addressed. So I mean, we'll see how it plays out, because I mean, the game Infinite Warfare, the gameplay, I've always said this, the core gameplay feels nice. It's just all the other stuff that brings it down. So hopefully with these changes and with more changes that are to come, the game ends up being really fun. So that's pretty much gonna be it for me today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to hit the like button. I really appreciate that. But this is Prodigy. Thanks for watching.